Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a movie's entitled Carry On. Let's get straight into the storyline. The story begins with a mysterious man, Travel, going to the headquarters of the Russian arms mafia in the guise of a roadside plant shop. Travel meets his boss, Oleg, to make a transaction. After Oleg takes all of Travel's money, he tells him that the items he ordered are in the trunk of a blue car parked next to the shop.
Behind the shop, trunk of blue BMW.
However, a few seconds after telling this, Oleg suddenly coughed up blood and died immediately. Apparently, Oleg was poisoned by Travel using cyanide poison. Not only that, Travel also shot one of Oleg's men before finally setting fire to the shop. Travel then went to the car in question, where his order, a black suitcase, was inside the trunk. However, the contents of the suitcase are still unknown. The story then moves to a newly married couple, Ethan Kopech and Nora, who were 1 month pregnant at the time.
I'll have a baby bump.
The two then rush to get ready to go to work. As it turns out, they both work at the same place, Northwind Airport in Los Angeles. However, their professions are different. Ethan is a TSA officer with a relatively low salary, while Nora is a recently promoted airport operations manager. On the bus ride to the airport, Nora makes small talk and asks Ethan to join the police roster. Becoming a police officer has always been Ethan's dream. However, Ethan reveals that he is no longer interested, considering that he failed the interview test last year due to a lack of money.
Just do me a favor and think about it.
Long story short, when they arrived at Northwind, they made an appointment to meet again at lunchtime.
I'll see you at lunch.
Okay. Ethan then parted ways and went to his work location. Ethan is late because the distance is quite far, and he gets teased by his boss, Sarkowski.
Take the bait. So what is going to be our mantra for the day?
Keep the line moving, keep the people safe.
Managers will forget. Kopech. To miss everything.
After Sarkowski gave directions, it was now the turn of an airport security officer named William, who gave instructions to check each traveler's ticket using a UV flashlight. This prevents any fake tickets from circulating during this holiday period.
Stay alert, stay vigilant. Let's get through this godforsaken holiday.
After being given directions, the TSA officers began to get ready. One of Ethan's colleagues, Eddie, announced that Ethan's wife was pregnant. Ethan was surprised because he had only told about his wife's pregnancy to one person, Jason. Jason then confessed that he had spread the news to all the officers so that the workers could congratulate Ethan.
She just wants you to show up. Okay? I believe in you. I'll see you out there.
Ethan then approached Sarkowski to ask for a raise. Ethan explained that he needed the extra money to buy baby supplies for Nora. Unfortunately, Sarkowski refused, as Ethan was often lazy and late.
Nice speech, though. And congrats on the kid.
Even so, Ethan insisted and promised to work better. Hearing this, Jason, Ethan's close friend, finally gave Ethan his position as a manual goods inspector.
A lead to work between D&E.
Meanwhile, a technician named Watcher was seen parking his van around the airport parking lot. Apparently, Watcher is not a real technician, but a criminal who is holding a man hostage. Watcher also begins to hack into the airport's CCTV so that he can monitor all the activities of people at the airport. It is revealed that Watcher is part of a travel group that plans to smuggle a mysterious suitcase into one of the planes through the manual check guarded by Jason. The two also had one other partner who was watching Jason's family. They planned to take Jason's family hostage so that he would pass the mysterious suitcase. However, the Watcher realizes that Ethan has taken over Jason's position. This made their main plan fail, so they switched to the second one.
Okay, let's pivot. Go to his place, fill in some blanks. No matter what, this gets done today.
Watcher, an expert in hacking, sent Ethan's home address to their third partner, who was tasked with finding information about Ethan. Arriving at Ethan's house, they discovered that Ethan had a pregnant wife named Nora, who worked at the same airport. Ethan, scanning Traveler's belongings, was interrupted by a female traveler named Rose. She showed him a mug containing earbuds and claimed that the earbuds were not hers. Shortly after Ethan took the earbuds, he suddenly got a message from Travel asking Ethan to use them. Once the earbuds were used, Ethan was immediately connected to Travel, who instructed him to comply. At first, Ethan thinks that this is Jason's doing, who wants to play a joke on Ethan. However, after Travel revealed Ethan and Nora's life history, Ethan broke out in a cold sweat.
Nora Parisi, 27.
Ask me if I know their names.
Who are you?
Not only that, Travel also threatens to kill Nora, who is pregnant, if Ethan does not want to obey his orders and rules. Feeling threatened, Ethan secretly called the police. However, the Watcher discovers this, forcing Ethan to switch off his phone immediately. If not, then Nora would die on the count of 3. Finally, Ethan switches off his phone.
Hang up now, or Nora dies. Now my people have a Barrett M82 sniper rifle at her head. Hang up the call,
911, what's your
or we
emergency?
execute your girlfriend.
Hello?
Now,
On the other hand, an LAPD detective named Elena Cole arrived at Oleg's plant shop to investigate. There, Elena found Oleg's broken watch containing a recording device. Unfortunately, the device was already on fire. Fortunately, Elena had a teammate who specialized in repairing the device.
I know somebody who might be able to uncook it.
Elena then brought the device to her colleague Herschel. However, because the device was burnt, Herschel could only get one clear word from the perpetrator: Merry Christmas.
I took what I could restore, isolated highs and lows. Here's what I got.
Meanwhile, Travel continued to talk to Ethan while watching him. Ethan secretly used his digital watch during their conversation to send a voice message. Unfortunately, the Watcher immediately noticed Ethan's actions. Travel immediately ordered Ethan to switch off the message.
reach down and cancel that text right now.
Not only that, Travel also asked Ethan to put his watch and mobile phone into a drawer.
Understand that? Parents do not live in Florida. Warnings. And the next time, there's going to be consequences. Do you understand me?
After that, Ethan realized that Travel was nearby. Travel was heard eating while hearing the same sounds around him. Ethan finally managed to find Travel, who was sitting at a bar.
While I live.
At that moment, a traveler shouted at Ethan for not focusing on his work. From there, Ethan got an idea. He took the traveler's ticket and wrote the emergency message "terrorist" on it using a bleach pencil. After that, he gave the ticket to Officer William, saying that this ticket was fake. When William saw the message through the UV flashlight, he paused and slowly left to inform the other officers. However, despite their caution, Travel knew their plan and deliberately ran over William. A few seconds later, William died of a heart attack. Travel then took the ticket and showed his face to Ethan. After William's death, Ethan feels very guilty. While he was brooding, he was visited by Travel. Travel blames Ethan for breaking the rules, which led to his partner's death. Travel then tells Ethan that Jason was actually the original target for this mission, and if necessary, Travel would not hesitate to execute Jason's wife and children. Travel then instructs Ethan that in a few minutes, a man in a red hat will be carrying a briefcase. Ethan's job was to let the suitcase pass through the screening machine.
A guy with a red baseball cap's gonna walk into your lane. What do you have to do?
Nothing.
That's right.
Long story short, when Ethan returned to his workplace, he found that Jason had replaced his position. Ethan then reported this problem to Sarkowski, but Sarkowski returned Ethan to his previous position, entertaining the travelers. Since only Ethan knew about this mission, Travel ordered Ethan to find a way for him to return to Jason's position. Ethan then went to the bar to get an alcoholic drink. After that, he poured the alcohol into the coffee. Ethan then brought the alcoholic coffee to Jason and deliberately swapped Jason's coffee with his own.
Yeah, just a bit out of it today.
To speed up his plan, Travel intervened by telling Sarkowski that a screening officer was drunk. Sarkowski approached Jason and discovered that Jason's coffee was alcoholic. As a result, Sarkowski sent Jason home and asked Ethan to take Jason's place. This, of course, made Jason disappointed with Ethan.
I thought I met assholes before.
Shortly after, the man in the red hat finally arrived and put the black suitcase with the red band on the conveyor. The monitor immediately detects danger when the suitcase crosses Ethan's screening machine. Ethan saw that the suitcase contained 2 mysterious canisters, whose danger level reached 99%. Suddenly, Ethan was in shock, as the suitcase was about to enter an aircraft with 250 passengers. In this position, Ethan could not do anything. All he could do was let the suitcase pass. Ethan then momentarily stopped the man in the red hat and found out that it was Mateo.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Elena searches for the meaning of the words she hears in Oleg's message. She comes across the word Novichok, and after some research, it turns out to be the name of the deadliest nerve gas poison. People who inhale Novichok gas will die within 30 seconds, and there is no antidote.
Get me Homeland.
Back to Ethan, who is vomiting in the bathroom. Travel then sees Ethan and informs him that he's just doing his job. So, this was not purely Travel's plan, but someone paid a lot of money to release the poisonous gas on the plane. Travel also said that the 250 victims were very few. Travel then promised to let Ethan and Nora go when the plane took off.
As soon as that plane takes off. Almost done.
On the other hand, Herschel tells Elena about Ethan's 911 call. However, Ethan did not say anything during the call.
Ethan Kopech.
Told you.
At the same time, a Department of Homeland Security agent named John Alcott arrives, who will accompany Elena in the search for Novichok poison gas. Elena then asked Herschel to call Ethan's number, but his phone number was inactive. From here, Elena began to suspect Ethan and decided to go to the airport. Elena also asked the aviation department to send police to the airport, precisely at Terminal 7, where Ethan worked. Long story short, when lunchtime arrived, Ethan and Nora finally met. During their chat, Nora felt strange because Ethan's attitude suddenly changed drastically. Ethan, still in control of Travel, then accidentally shouted at Nora. As a result, Nora took offense and left.
Call me end of shifts.
After lunch, Sarkowski gathered the officers, including Ethan, to inform them that the police were there to check passengers' belongings at Terminal 7. Since Mateo's job was only to deliver luggage, not as a passenger, Ethan secretly took a passenger data device. He deliberately entered Mateo's name into the passenger list at Terminal 7 so that Mateo could be checked later along with his luggage. After Ethan returned to his workplace, Sarkowski finally called Mateo for inspection. This made Travel angry because Ethan had broken the rules.
Why'd they pull my guy? You're lying. I don't know how you did this, but this is you.
Even so, Ethan was ignorant and immediately ran to meet Nora. Meanwhile, Travel immediately orders the Watcher to target Nora. When Ethan managed to meet Nora and was about to explain everything, Ethan suddenly saw Nora's head being shot by the Watcher. Realizing Nora's life was threatened, Ethan left without a word.
You speak one word and she dies. You have 3 seconds to back away or a 30 caliber round will travel 3,000 feet per second and paint the wall with her brain.
You're just walking away?
Not one word.
Ethan then went to the bathroom, where he was beaten by Travel for daring to break the rules. Ethan did not remain silent. He desperately took Travel's plastic gun and ordered him to call the Watcher to stop targeting Nora.
Take it easy, take it easy. That's great. Well, at least this is interesting. And when I confirm Nora's okay, then I am walking you out to the police!
However, Travel defies him by using his phone to activate a bomb, which will explode within 10 minutes, and tens of thousands of people at the airport will die.
You got 10 minutes before everybody in this airport dies. Shut it down.
As a result, Ethan abandoned his intention. Travel then told him that the only way to stop the bomb was to reset it. Therefore, Travel asked Ethan to go to Sarkowski's room, where he was checking Mateo's luggage.
Take the gun, maybe run. Why are you making me do it? Because you're not in control, Ethan. You never will be.
Clock's ticking, so go.
Ethan then runs to the office where Sarkowski is. There, Travel ordered Ethan to shoot and kill Sarkowski. However, Ethan was unable to do so. In the end, it was Mateo who killed Sarkowski by stabbing a pen into his throat.
He's done enough talking. You're wasting time. Shoot him now or everyone dies.
How do we can talk?
God damn it, Ethan, do it now!
Seeing this, Ethan beats Mateo. Finally, Ethan realizes that Mateo is a victim like himself, where Mateo's father, who was a hostage in the Watcher's car, would be killed if Mateo broke the rules. As time was running out, Travel instructed Ethan to reset the bomb.
Love. To put it in manual mode. There are 2 clusters.
After succeeding, Ethan's colleague John, who is ex-military, arrives. Fortunately, Mateo has hidden Sarkowski's body, so John immediately leaves the room. Meanwhile, Elena and Alcott are seen on their way to the airport. On the way, Elena gets a call from Herschel saying that the real agent, John Alcott, is heading to Los Angeles.
Value targets were flying through Los Angeles. John Alcott.
Okay.
Elena?
From there, Elena realized that the Alcott she was with was a criminal named Ryan. And sure enough, Ryan immediately confessed that he was part of the criminals who smuggled poison into the airport. Elena immediately fought with Alcott. However, because they were speeding too much, the car they were traveling in rolled over. Ryan then tried to strangle Elena, but Elena shot him in the head first. After that, Elena exited the car and stopped a citizen's car to go to the airport. Meanwhile, Ethan and Mateo moved Sarkowski's body to the luggage sorting area. But as they enter the sorting room, Travel orders Mateo to kill Ethan.
Just to you now, cough, if you understand.
Fortunately, Ethan has sharp instincts, and a fight breaks out between the two. In the fight, Ethan chased the Novichok suitcase that fell onto the conveyor. So did Mateo. Mateo continued to shoot at Ethan using a plastic gun, but due to continued use, the gun became hot and exploded, hitting him in the throat. Before dying, Mateo apologized to Ethan. Ethan then uses Mateo's mobile phone to send a message to his coworker Eddie, warning him about the bomb threat at the airport and saving Nora. Meanwhile, Elena arrives at the airport and immediately orders the officers to look for Ethan. Realizing Ethan has gone too far, Travel kills an officer and takes his gun. He then chased Ethan and shot him in the arm.
Ethan, give me that case.
Finding a dead end, Ethan hid and let Travel take his suitcase.
Merry Christmas.
Afterwards, Travel orders the Watcher to kill Nora.
Kill the girl.
Copy that.
Elsewhere, Eddie tells Nora that her life is under threat. Sure enough, that's when the Watcher comes after Nora. Eddie then asked Nora to run first while he faced the Watcher.
Man, what's up? I got the
However, the Watcher quickly stabs Eddie. Elena finally finds Ethan, who says that his wife is in danger.
But you have to let me go. I have to get to my girlfriend. No.
When Elena was about to arrest him, Ethan first dropped Elena. He gave the characteristics of the man carrying the bomb before Ethan finally ran away.
These guys are professionals.
Meanwhile, the Watcher is still chasing Nora, heading to the car park. When Nora ran towards the police post, Ethan appeared and immediately hugged her. Just as the Watcher prepares to kill them both, he is suddenly shot dead by the man being held hostage, who turns out to be Mateo's father. Ethan then goes to tell Mateo's father that Mateo did not survive. At that moment, Ethan learns that Mateo was given 2 tickets, one for New York and another for DC.
They gave him 2 tickets.
Meanwhile, Travel, who was waiting at the bar, was approached by her colleague, Rose. Rose then exchanged Travel's backpack for a parachute backpack. The plan is that Travel will board a plane to DC, activate the bomb once in the air, and then exit using the parachute. Travel begins to enter the plane while observing a woman named Grace Turner. At the same time, Elena is called by Herschel, who tells her that the main target of this attack is a congresswoman named Grace Turner, who previously managed to thwart a bill that would help private contractors. In essence, Travel was paid big bucks by the contractors to kill Grace Turner and the passengers on the plane. They did this to make it look like a Russian terrorist attack, so that Russia would be blamed. Not only that, with the killing of Grace Turner, the private contractor bill will be passed, so that large contractors will enter into it.
Plane full of people. Congresswoman all killed by Russian nerve toxin. On Christmas Eve.
Meanwhile, Ethan and Nora track down the Novichok suitcase and discover it's already on a plane heading towards DC. Ethan then asks Nora to find Elena and asks her not to stop the plane because if the plane is stopped, Travel will detonate the bomb directly. To solve this, Ethan goes directly to the plane, which is about to take off, to reset the bomb so that Travel cannot activate it.
You are not yet cleared for takeoff.
Nora finally meets Elena and asks her not to stop the flight as Ethan is trying to defuse the bomb. Ethan finally arrives at the plane and enters it through the cargo door just as the plane starts to fly. After searching around, Ethan finally finds his suitcase. Ethan then begins resetting the bomb in the same way he had in Sarkowski's room. Knowing the bomb had been reset, Travel immediately went to the cargo hold and found Ethan. Without thinking, Travel immediately shot Ethan in the leg. Meanwhile, the pilot, who knew something was wrong with the cargo hold, returned to the airport.
There's nothing. Nice work.
After defeating Ethan, Travel opened his suitcase. However, when he opened it, the poison gas canister was not there. It turns out that Ethan took the poison canister. Ethan then pushed Travel into a vacuum chamber and threw poison gas into it. After that, he held the door until Travel died a horrible death. Moments later, the plane landed back at the airport. Ethan then got out of the plane and was immediately arrested by dozens of police. However, Elena arrives and asks the police to let Ethan go. Ethan then tells Elena that the culprit is dead, along with the Novichok gas.
Get him to a medic.
Ethan then met Nora, who was proud of his heroic actions.
I knew you could do it.
1 year later, Ethan and Nora have a child. The two were spotted at the airport to go on holiday to Tahiti. In addition, Ethan has made up with Jason. The film then closes with Ethan, who is no longer a TSA officer, but has become a police officer.